All right, welcome along to another session with the Better One of Sports. Thank you for so many of you who's been commenting, whether good or bad, who's been subscribing, who's been liking. We want to say thank you for keeping it up with us on the page. So it's time for us to delve into another talking point, and this one is quite interesting. I mean, Mikel has been in the news lately. I mean, talking about Chelsea's efforts to get Victor Osimhen, ripping into Nicholas Jackson, but this one really hit home. In the last couple of days, he spoke about the Rio 2016 Olympic debacle before, what happened, what transpired before the tournament, how the team was stranded. I mean, this was in a podcast with Peter Crouch, where he was saying the team was stranded, money has been disbursed, where someone was sitting on the budget, failing to release the money for the team to fly to compete in the Olympics. And I mean, I've known you for a long time. There's this backstory you've always said about the Rio 2016 Olympic, how the team, flew to Brazil for the Olympic. I don't know if you've come out to say this before, but this is the perfect time for you to come out to tell us what really transpired during that period. I mean, a lot of people have shredded the NFF. Like, why would Mikel be paying for the team's flight? Why would Mikel be paying for, what's supposed to be the responsibility of the Football Federation? Now, for those of you who don't know, when Mikel said that, I went back to your channel. There's this interview you did with Bumi Jinadu, one of, the pioneers of that preparation time for the Olympic in Atlanta when the team was preparing to fly. And he spoke a whole lot. A lot of people don't know. So if you want to catch that, you can go back to this channel. You could still find that interview on the channel. But now let's talk about the main point of this issue now. Let's talk about Mikel. Was he saying the truth? I mean, Omar posted a video of you where you come out to say that Mikel was really lying. So let's talk about it now on the channel. Do you stand on that and say Mikel Obi is not saying the truth?
First, thank you for the question. And then secondly, let me say massive thank you for the upsurge that we've had on the channel lately. Let's not be so arrogant that we think it's ourselves that's doing it. And it's just so coming, at this time where we resume this. A lot of people think that we just started doing this.
They don't know that it's been going on for a long time.
Comments that I'm seeing, somebody said on Twitter today that I'm only attacking players. I could not even attack ministers or FA officials because maybe I'm in their pocket. Well, I wouldn't say I am the number one, but I don't think there's anybody in the history of Nigerian sports media that have attacked officials like I have done. Let me give you a very vintage example. I grew up with Amaju. Amaju could pass as my elder brother. If Amaju was not a sports administrator, was not in sports at all, you practically would see me and him almost every day. That's how close we are. That's how much like my family and his family were that close. I shredded Amaju for incompetence when he was the NFF president, to the point where a meeting of elders of Delta State, Warri elders, led by Vincent Okumagba, had to be called for me to come and explain if Amaju done anything wrong to me. And I told everybody there that, look, Amaju didn't do anything to me. But this is not about me. It's about Nigerian football. And if it is not well run, even if it is my own blood that is running it, I would have an opinion. I have also been arrested by DSS in this country on 3 different occasions by 2 sports ministers and 1 education minister. That's what a lot of people don't understand. Because I'm not going to go sit on the podcast and begin to lament. I can fight my battles. It's like when I left my former place of work, people were coming from behind. People were friends of my former chairman. Like, you need to go out public. You need to fight this man for taking your car the way he did. I wasn't interested, right? I need to put that to bed for the younglings, the people who just started getting data 2 days, 2 months, 6 months ago. Let's try and understand this, that I have been holding state accountable since 1991 when I led a riot over the increment of junior WAEC registration fee by 50 naira. I ran a full riot and that money was brought down. 1991, I was in JS3. So I'm not trying to sound like Showore. I'm not on that level. That level of, holding government accountable is way above mine. I'm also not saying I'm VDM, but I just need people to understand. Secondly, in this whole football media thing, and I say some lazy people in WhatsApp groups saying all the shit that they're saying, let me first I need to set some records straight. I played the football. Maybe you say, oh, you not plan to the very top. I played it. Toby will come out now and tell you that he's a football administrator, right? And you cannot argue against it. I formed a club from grassroots. In short, 2 clubs from grassroots. And those 2 clubs grew, played up to the 2nd division, the Nigerian Pro League, while I was paying and running it. I also sold that club and I helped to run it again for Colonel A.U. Suleiman, called Baba Nawa. That's what brought me to Lagos. I like to put it because sometimes if you don't put out your CVs, people think that you're just starting yesterday. Having said that, anybody is not too big to hold accountable for what they do. Now, there is private life. What you do with your private life is none of my business. But if that thing becomes a public conversation, we would have it. Then there is this group of Nigerians who think that, oh, this is not how professional journalists should talk. They should not be getting into people's personal life. When I interviewed Ode Igalo, you remember this one? When he just that moved to Manchester United, when I broke the news, all the European media were quoting me.
Quoting the source.
Nigerians were here telling me that Odion is divorcing with his wife. And all I'm talking about is move to Man United. Why didn't I ask him that question? Even at some point, Bobby had to like step in and like, oh boy, why are people like this, right? Now, the reason why I'm saying this is the same Nigerians now are not saying I am talking about people's personal lives. This is my job. If a question come up, I would have an opinion. If your favorite superstar player is not behaving well and the conversation comes up, my dear, I'm going to run on it. So let's talk about Mikel. Why this is very close to home and close to me is that what Mikel is doing, while it's a very big lie, it's a massive lie, and I don't know why Mikel.
So you stand by that, say it's a lie.
What do I stand by that? I know more about that team than Mikel himself that played in the team. Now, Mikel is a late comer to the team. Samson was being nice, being magnanimous, dropped the player, put him in the team, took the captain's armband from Azubike Okechukwu and put him. So let me give you the genesis of the story. This is going to take, producer will be angry with me now, but Siasa was appointed and he took the job. There's only one reason Siasa took that job. If you remember, between since the turn of the millennium, 2000, till now, there have been 6 Olympics games. Sydney 2000, Athens 2004, Beijing 2008, London 2012, Rio 2016, Tokyo 2022. That's the 6 Olympics that we've had. In those 6, Nigeria have only qualified for 3. Of those 3, Siasia took us to 2, Beijing and Rio. Now, when we qualified for 2000, I call it the compensation football event because all of the guys who won us 96, or most, not all, most of the guys who won us the tournament in 1996, their siblings made it to 2000. Maybe on their own merit, but from my own standpoint, I still stand on that these people went to this tournament. Roma's brother, I think, Amunike's, Kevin Amunike, Egwatu Abi Azubike Olise, one of the 2 of them. Kano's brother, if I'm not mistaken. Gbona Kano also was in that squad. I don't know. All of those guys. And then the Agawa, Agali, Chikelu Ilionose in Sydney. But after that, the other 2 Olympics we've gone to is Siasia. Why did Siasia take the Rio 2016 appointment? He had failed to qualify for 2 Nations Cup where he was brought in to rescue the Super Eagles, like Chelena, and then he didn't qualify. 2012 and 2015. So when that opportunity came, because there was no other person and the situation was precarious, he took it. The urge to take that job was that, let me try and redeem my name. Let me try and do something that I have done before I got to the finals. Maybe I might just get this one, but let me redeem my name. When he got the job, he realized how bad it is. Another information that Nigerians don't have. Government sugar daddying the football house ended with Goodluck Jonathan. When Goodluck Jonathan was there was monthly allocation for the NFF. But when Buhari came in, now there was a problem. Never before in the recent history of Nigeria football have we had a president who belonged to another political party and an NFF president who belonged to another political party. So the president was an APC man. The NFF president was a PDP strongman. Like, he was a commissioner before. He's been in PDP, Delta State. Now, in the political chessboard, they were playing the politics of During the campaign for the election, the 2014 or the 2015 election, the then NFL president, Melvin Pinnick, was recorded on tape saying that President the Buhari would, that time he wasn't president, Major General Buhari, retired, was not going to make it. Like, look at the way, kind of like was sarcastic about it, like, look at how sickly he's looking. He's not going to make it. After all, he's been failing since, right? Jonathan is a done deal. You know, the way Amaju talks. That's not the problem until Buhari won. And so the guy who became the minister, Solomon Dalong, you know, I don't want to blame him, because let's also put all the cards perfectly on the table so that we don't get all these misnomer. You know, took that as an advantage to really, you know, we are APC, we can't fund you. That's why Majo went around looking for ways to market football and all that. Now, the way the Olympics football is designed, the NFF takes care of the qualifiers, and then the ministry will take over and run the Olympics, the pre-Olympic preparation and all that. But that's not happened. There is a reason why since 2016, 2 Olympics now we've not qualified for the football event for the men. It is not by accident. It's not that Imama Mabakabo, Kennedy Boboye and Fidelis Leshuku that took the previous one, that brought in people like Maduka and the rest and didn't qualify. It's not by accident. It's the fact that the kind of funding required to qualify for the Olympics, they don't have the network, the connections to bring it in. That's one. 2, the one that Salisu took and Guinea beat us in Abuja. Also, it's not by accident. It's just that there's no proper funding. With funding, you can prepare very well. So when Sasa got the appointment, came to Lagos with Abu. Abu is in the US right now, who had his stroke recently, but now it's fine. So that I'm saying these names not because I want to run them down, but so that people can check up. Came to Lagos and we got talking. We met at Lagos Business School, then we got to my house and we got talking like, man, this job is worse than Beijing. There is nothing on ground, no fun, nothing to prepare. Training matches, all those things are not going to be done. We need to raise money. I mean, in the name of patriotism, first off, I don't have a football academy. I'm not affiliated to any player, grassroots, professional at any level. I don't. If people are honest with it, people are in my DM every day, both the ones abroad, both the ones in Nigeria. Please, we see your interview with coaches, help put our player here. And I tell them straight up, I'm not a football agent. I'm not even willing to do that. The day I want to become a football agent, I will leave media. I don't want to be the guy to say you are influencing people. I want to have my freedom to speak. Even though there is money. I've been offered $15,000 in a week where I was looking for money to pay my child's hospital bill. And I was like, no, I won't do it. After we interview Gunnar Raw. Yeah. But I can't do it. Even players that are currently in the Super Eagles now, that are playing now. But let's not mention them. So we went around. We went to Nikon Town to meet a guy called CJ. So a fantastic lawyer. I went to Uniport. It's my very good friend. And I like, guy, bro, at that time, he just bought a Rolls Royce for 290 million. And I was like, bro, we need money. We are trying to raise money for this team. Sasa is a good coach, but he needs money to do all the preparation. I was like, what is the NFF and the sports ministry doing? That's his first question. He's also worked with people in government. So he's a lawyer to some top guys in government. So he understands. And I told him, I said, bro, you know this thing better than I do. Money will be approved today. It will take another 6 to 10 months for those money to be released. Pending when that money is released, we will play qualifiers. We will need to play friendly matches. And if we don't fund it, we will lose. And then again, it's the same old story. I mean, eventually when that money is released, we'll go into something else. So we're looking for money to mitigate against those situations. Remember, at that time, it was still the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Like I told you guys, the budget for the Ministry for Youth and Sports, 98% goes to the youth ministry, and then only 2% go to sports. And sports is not just football. Sports is all the sports together. Hence, the existential decay that we've had in our sports for God knows how long. Okay, it is this government that have not separated Ministry for Youth and Ministry for Sports, but we will get here. So I was the one who was running point on fundraising. You know, the NFF can cater for, say, we're going for qualifiers, but who cater for those pre-match friendlies, those go and play for Nation, 8 Nations Invitational Tournament? The NFF don't have the funding. Because the Super Eagles alone, one away match is taking between 300 to 350 million. Then you have the under 23, then you have the under 20s, you have the under 17, then you have the women team in all the academies. So it was just, let's get the support. Then after we left CJ, we went to Banana Island to meet Honorable Nduka Rabo, and we also laid the same card. Gave us food, we ate, we finished eating, and we spoke to him. He's a sports loving person, he's a football person. We understand that he would understand and he will pull string. We didn't go to them like, just give us money now. But know what we're going through and find what you can do within your human capital and financial capital and human resources around you to support and make this happen. Because this is a coach. That's why I even so we started that fund drive. We also, went to meet the current Lagos State Football Association chairman. These guys want to be anonymous, right? And I said, you've been my guy since forever. I need your help. I hardly come to you for help. I don't need to come to you for help, but right now we need help. The help is not for me. It's Nigeria that needs it. And you're a football person. It will make sense if you support this initiative. And I mean, that man put in about 460 million naira of his own money, to make sure we go to this tournament, we play here, we play there, everything. Then there was Yamido, who also invested in the team, became a friend with Siasia, want to see Siasia succeed. Honestly speaking, a lot of people love Siasia. Like I always tell him, people love you. People want to see you succeed. And they put in all this money. Now let's talk about the Atlanta. I can't give you the breakdown of all this other money, how they were spent, because it will take the whole show. But let's go to Atlanta. After we had qualified, after we'd done all the qualification, Siasia now said, for this team to progress, we need to put them in a camp where they will prepare for at least 2 to 3 weeks. We went to the sports ministry because now they've qualified. It's off the NFF. It's got nothing to do with the NFF anymore. It's the sports ministry. Sports ministry was battling with budget and all that. And people always ask, where does that money go? I can't categorically sit here because people always say, like Mikel said, that somebody's sitting on the money. Nobody's sitting on any money. People always say that thing. If you know the truth, it's either the budget, the money is not enough, or the Nigeria as a country does not prepare well. Because of all these things, I take very good care of focusing on how budget are prepared and how they dispense it. I see Wike spending money in Abuja. I'm just coming back from Abuja where my plane almost crashed on Friday night, right? I'm seeing Wike spend money in Abuja. I'm seeing Umahi spend money, trillions of nairas and running into billions of dollars. And I saw what Amechi did with the railway lines and all that. And I'm saying to myself, sports is not funded like this. Because if you look at today, the NSC is situated with 2 sports guru. Shehu Diko hates him, saw everything about him. He likes photo up, blah, blah, blah. But you cannot fault his football administration, his knowledge of the sport. Olokpade, you also cannot fault his knowledge in the sport. So this is Olokpade, who is a great guy in athletics, who's been running the Access Marathon, who's been running different marathons, who's been, cranking up sponsorship from everywhere. This is Shehu Diko. You would have thought that by now, maybe one stadium will be, the infrastructure will be upgrading. By now, this will be happening. But then you sit back and realize that, they don't get the kind of funding that a Wike gets being the FCT minister. They don't get the kind of funding that Umahi gets being the minister for work. And then they also cannot get the collaborative partnership, that Umahi gets with all these other companies like iTech and the rest. So sports is actually an orphan. They also will not go and send their kidneys or their scrotum or their eyes or their heart to raise money for the sports, right? So that's the lean side. So when they went to Atlanta for an invitational tournament. One, to rekindle, to remind these players who are playing the first national team, them Savior, them Azubike Kechuku and all these guys, Shehu Abdullahi, that squad, them Umar Sadiq, Oganekari Tebo, those guys. Let's go to Atlanta. Remind them that here, 20 years ago, Nigeria won its first Olympic football gold, even its first gold, Choma Joa, and you guys can build on that and take it further. If you remember, I was telling Brella at the time, when the minister came out in the press and said, Sasa has kidnapped the players, this was his word, who sent them go Atlanta? Who approve him? Why did he get there? He's trying to make money because he wants to do his own racket. That's what the minister said at the time. So I'm rephrasing, but that's what he said at the time.
Meanwhile, the intention was to go camp there, prepare the team,
prepare them, inspire them, and get them to the Olympics. Because again, don't forget that Siasia wanted to redeem his name because he had failed to qualify for 2 Nations Cup in between Beijing 2008 and now in 2012 we didn't qualify for the Nations Cup, where they said we didn't know that a draw would have qualified us. Then the other one was the one where Egypt, they took us to Kaduna, and Egypt, Mosala stressed the living daylight out of us and we didn't qualify. So he needed this one to redeem himself. It was a redemption mission. And when you're on redemption mission, you do anything, you go the extra mile. And that's exactly what he did. Because he's done that before. Remember, in 2008, I think they camped in France or so and prepared. So he knows that, okay, preparation. This is a guy who's played, he's a consummate professional footballer. Okay, he's also played. He's one of the best coaches that Nigeria has actually produced. If you're ranking top 5 Nigerian coaches, you name Samson Siasia, you name Stephen Keshi, Amadou Shaibu. Unfortunately, the two of them have died. I would also put Tonic Bide there because he's been to the Nations Cup semi-finals in 1984, and he's also proven that he can introduce young players to the team and they will stay long. The Yama, the Yobo, and the rest of them. Having said that, then you now bring in Samson Siasia and Olize and the Guavon and the rest of them. These are the coaches that we have, whether we like them or we hate them. So when they now got stranded in Atlanta. Remember, they went to Atlanta. The organizers of the event, what they were responsible for was us coming to the US. Accommodation for the time of the competition was a 1-day, 8 days competition. And then feeding. After that, Sasa decided, let's stay and stay acclimatized. Instead of coming to Nigeria, and from Nigeria we go. One, it is a longer flight to go. Nigeria does not have its own official carrier. That was the mindset at the time. It does not have its own official carrier. Why not stay in Atlanta? That is 8 hours from Atlanta to Manaus. Let's stay here and go. 3 days or 5 days to the games. We'll go there and acclimatize. We're playing Japan the first game. Japan had already been there 3 weeks before that game anyway. But when it was not time to exit, they started calling the ministry to, make arrangement for their flight to go. And then the first response was that the Nigerian government was supposed to send the contingent forth. And because they're not here, Nigerian government is no longer interested. That was the first. So when pressure came in, the media started putting pressure. Minister said, who sent them go there? Sasa had gone to do his own racket, blah, 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 blah. Sasa could not have stayed there because if we don't play that game, till today, Nigeria will blame Sasa. They'll say, Sasa, who sent them go there? That's the story that would happen because we live in a country where you can gaslight the truth. Their lie becomes the truth. That's what's happening to people like them. Favor, Blessing Okagbare, Divine, all these athletes that have been painted bad. It's because the administrators are PhD holders in gaslighting, blackmailing, and all that. So it was not run into overdrive. Me personally, my first move was to the Senate president at the time, Bukola Saraki. The records are still, unfortunately, my old Twitter account has been stolen since 20th of April 2020. We had that conversation until somebody on the Senate president side gave me a number to call. And then I called. I was speaking with the guy. He said, what do we want him to do? And I said, our team is stranded in Atlanta. We need your help. Help us move the team from Atlanta to Brazil. This is an opportunity for you to be a national hero. You are a sports person. Your son, Sheni, also loves sports. Okay. So I tried to, work on his emotional side. That was my call. My wife like, why are you pacing like a man whose wife is in labor room? I said, the matter on ground is worse than that. Right? He said, well, there's little you can do. Have I reached out to the vice president? Yomi Osinbajo was the vice president at the time. We reached out, again, that moment also taught me a lot of things. That these people are reachable if you really want to reach them. Before you know, we're talking with the vice president of Nigeria. And he gave his word that, okay, they would get to the minister. It's still normal protocol. The vice president will not do anything. It's the normal protocol of going to the minister, the NFF, and all that. I said they will get to them. But while all these things were going on, time was running out.
Yeah.
We were losing time from 48 hours to now about 24 hours to the game. So I think in that process, reached out to Junaidu, Olubumi Junaidu, and like, Bumi, is there nothing that can be done in the US? That's where Yomi Idowu came in. I said, okay, we're here. I've also given you guys money. We've done the qualifiers. In all this money not to go to waste. And again, the spirit of Nigeria, loving Nigeria. This was things that were done out of patriotism because some of the people who put money don't have any affiliation with any football club. They don't know anybody who's playing football to say, oh, if I give you this money, you take my player. No, they just did it on their own. Right? The man I paid, I don't know the exact money, but it's over $250,000 to charter a plane that would take Nigeria from Atlanta to Manaus. He paid for the charter. The coach and some of the players were ready. When Mikel Obi now that is claiming that he paid for it, saw the plane, he said the plane was too small. He cannot. That is a risk to his life. Fair to him. You know why? He's been traveling comfort, traveling in style. You cannot tell a man who's been making all those trips to go take a small plane, according to him, and he will not have a say-so. So he was also the captain of the team, and everybody listened to him. They went back to their hotel room, but now time was now against us. Time was running against us. We were now under like 20 hours to the game. The clock was ticking. Like, this is a story that would have made a great movie. Like a very, when you watch 24, you watch Oliver Pope's movie. This is the kind of movie that give you that kind of adrenaline rush. What, under 20 hours, still no plane to fly the team. Bumi used this connection because I think he was working in the mayor's office.
So there was a first flight provided. It was rejected.
It was rejected by Mikel Obi.
Okay.
Do I blame him for that? No. The question people ask, did he pay for food? Yes, he did. Did he pay for accommodation? Yes, he did. But he didn't pay for any flight. Bumi now reached out to the mayor, who sold the story. We spoke, and I said the best story to say right now is that 20 years ago, Nigeria came to Atlanta, won the Olympic football. Good. Nigeria is inspired by the spirit of that team, and they came to Atlanta again, believing that Atlanta have a blessing for us. And then Atlanta have a huge collection of Nigerians as well. The Dirty South have a huge collection of Nigeria. This is a place where if we leave here and go on to pick any medal in this football event, under this circumstance, Atlanta will forever be praised. Now, link up with Delta. Delta now said, well, we don't have any plane available going there. The only plane we'd have is the US men basketball national team plane that has already gone. Remember, the US didn't stay in Brazil. They stayed in Brazil, but they stayed on the water. They provided a yacht for them. They also, I think the American government also made available at their Air Force carrier to be nearby in the sea, the coastal area, but then the LeBron James and the guys that played for the US team in Brazil, they all stayed on that boat. So the plane was available on ground, waiting for when they will say, oh, time to come pick them. So say we can use this 30-seater Delta planes, the Boeing 737 or so. They now took that. The only thing, the thing they leverage is that it gave them more mention in the news because the whole news, mass media was in Atlanta talking about one former African team, the African champions, big team that came to the USA in 94 did this. They came to Atlanta 2 years later in 96. They did this and now they are stranded. They can't find their way. They will miss their first match against Japan, blah, blah, blah. That was the news. So Delta took advantage of it for a good cause. They put the Nigerian team in the US men's basketball national team plane and flew them to Manos. The rest, as they say, is history. Now, why Mikel? Because somewhere along the line, Mikel has said this before. And
so people have said Mikel has said this before. Nobody came out to debunk.
No, I actually.
So why now that people were coming out to debunk?
I actually came out to debunk, and I remember that was the genesis of doing that interview with United. We did that, and Mikel also in one interview denied that he didn't pay. Why all of a sudden he's getting hot pants, spit him out, and saying this again? That I don't get. There are certain things that people do. You just want to make them stay in the cold. But then when you have somebody who is trying to put everybody's nose in the mud, and why it is surprising for me with Mikel Obi is, in one breath, Mikel Obi will tell you if you're not choosing Nigeria, and then later in life when you don't have any option, you choose Nigeria, you should not be allowed. That sounds like he's being patriotic. Why would somebody who's preaching patriotism all of a sudden try to rubbish the image of the country that you're being patriotic with? I don't know. Maybe it's a compulsive need to be heard. Maybe it's a compulsive need to feel important. Mikel does not need it. Mikel is a football legend. He's an icon. He's won the African Cup of Nations. He's won the Champions League. He's won the UEFA Europa Cup. He's won the Premier League, the English FA Cup. If he doesn't do anything again for the rest of his life, he will be seen as a football legend, as a football icon and everything. But that he chooses to do this, I don't know what podcasts make people do, but I know I've been doing podcasts for a while. I don't know why, but categorically, I'm looking you in the face and I'm telling you, Mikel Obi told a lie. Like, on this one, I will die on my sword or for it. Mikel Obi is lying. There's no... there are some things you will say you do not have an idea. I don't know.
In his defense, people have come out to say, okay, even though he didn't pay for the flight, was he supposed to pay for food? Was he supposed to pay for other things? Where's the NFF and stuff like that? Okay. Just to give him some credit for that.
Let's even
say that he's not been reimbursed up until now.
Let's get into that. You see this food that they say he paid for. And if you're watching this, I've gone out with sports people who don't work for me and I pay for their food. Should I be reimbursed? Should we start asking where are their bosses? Because I've gone out in Nigeria here, outside of Nigeria here, where we just go out. I pay for food. Should I be reimbursed? Swear, if you're watching this video right now, you're looking at me right now, tell me that you've not gone out with your friends and your friends pay for your food. So some of these things that are being said, it is because we want to credit people. The food mention should not even come up. Right? And again, let me also put some things to the fact, because it is just easy. You know, back in the day where we used to say NFF don't collect the money, they don't shop them. It is lack of knowledge. I make both to say maybe the FIFA grant, the FIFA money that comes in, maybe the NFF people, they can manipulate it, pay themselves, inflate payment. But I make both to say that there's nobody in the NFF that can eat Super Eagles money that is coming from government. There is nobody. I repeat, if you know that there is somebody in the NFF that can eat that money, tell me, because you must first of all know how the money comes. Money that government will release go to TSA when they want to pay. I'm not saying this because I want to be popular, but I've been in the system. This Nations Cup that we
like some people say, you're the NFF spokesman. No?
I'm not their spokesman. I don't even like the NFF. I'm not. Let me explain to you. I will not kill a goat for what a dog have done. I will not do that. Everybody plays to the gallery, but let's also educate people. This job, a lot of people don't educate people. This last AFCON, the NFF, as we speak, they are neck deep in debt to the player, over 30 games. But this last AFCON that they played, when CAF paid the money, the way they structure it, the way they set this, the NFF have their account in central bank. When you pay NFF, the money goes to the central bank account. NFF cannot just issue a check and you go and cash your money. NFF will send a memo with the names of all recipients and proof that they went to that tournament, evidenced by their registration and everything, and the whole documentation. They will send to CBN. CBN will not check to confirm. Remember one time when Noble wasn't paid, everybody was paid, and John Noble, the goalkeeper, the home base goalkeeper with the Imba at the time, is in Tanzania, came out to say he wasn't paid. The money was there. CBN just couldn't trace his account. The account that was given, it doesn't have a dollar account. It was thinking the money would just go straight to his Naira account. So it took time. And you know how it is. They send you money. That's happened to me before. This YouTube that we're doing, I've been paid before, then the money reversed. I got a notification of the payment on my email, but it's not in my account. And then it was later I realized I thought the money, me too, I submitted my normal current account. And then I realized that, oh, now dollar account they pay. Before I went to go and sort it out, it took another 4 months of payment window for me to get that money. If it was the NFF, somebody would go out there and say, oh, they don't eat them. I remember when some people say, don't chop the money. This one. People were calling me left, right, front, and right. Now, it is easy when people call you and you need to talk. But before you talk, you must hear from the other side. Again, before you even hear from the other side, because this side can lie, this side can lie. Go through the mechanism of payment and figure out how this money is even paid. We can say Gusso is incompetent. Maybe in the way he communicates, maybe the way he handles things. We can say Dico like photo up. We can say Olokpade is this. But you know what you can't say? That this guy ate money that is not their own. It's hard. Maybe they can award a contract. First off, the NFF cannot even award contract. They can't do anything. You know, their job is to keep raising money, keep applying for fund, and they cannot force government. They cannot beat government. So when Mikel said the money was approved and somebody was sitting on top of it, it is Mikel at this age, after playing football and retiring, it is also incumbent on Mikel, as he wants to be a podcast guy now. Part of this work of being a journalist or a media personality, it's not just the sensational side. You should also learn the workings of how things work. You know, it's like me telling you that if ball touch your hand in the 80-yard box, it's supposed to be a foul. They're supposed to take the ball outside and play it. Would you not call me an ignorant person? Would you not call me a fool? That's exactly what Mikel is positioning himself, because he doesn't even understand how. And I don't blame him. I'm a former footballer, and I'll tell you this for free. Footballers, from the very early age when they started playing football, everything is done for them. Do you not wonder how 85% of footballers become broke after they retire? No matter how you explain their expense to me, it does not make sense. It is foolishness that make you play professional football up to 5 or 10 years and you're broke thereafter. It is foolishness. That's a topic. That's a conversation we'll have another day. So you also need to take it upon yourself, do research, do some findings, and know how these things are done. Because when you go on international stage to say these things, what you're doing is you're denying us of soft power. You're labeling us bad just the way the white man wants to see us. No wonder AJ Mikaraga will sit down and say the things that he says. We will be here getting angry, but we're the one exposing ourselves. If tomorrow Peter Crash take off on the back of that and say in Africa, because Africa is seen as one state. They are not seen as different places that you can even apply for visa to go from Nigeria to Morocco or to South Africa, or to, they think we are gathered in one compound under one big tree. Elephant is making noise on one side, lion is making. That's what they think in the West. So if they take this now and then, you know, the information evolution of information. I'll tell you, the boy is a good boy. Before you take that information to 10 people, the boy might have turned into a girl. Do you know that? So, if Peter Crash now says in Africa, they approve money for tournament and people sit on it, you now come, the same Mikel Obi and a group of other people will go on the med down. But you opened the door, just like what I said about Simed during the coconut head. He mentioned this thing about himself. The club said it and you people say it's racism. But when Osimhen said it about himself that he get coconut head, not said anything. That's exactly what Mikel is doing now. Putting us in bad light just to sell an agenda that is rooted in lies. The same way we have one Super Eagles retired player who told the world that his parents were killed in a Kaduna riot. They were beheaded. Very gory story. Papa still there alive. Oh. Papa still there alive.
We'll leave that for those in the comments to decode.
So, no, because everybody is quiet, nobody is doing anything, I could just go sit down one day for Pinnock Beach. I'll snap you, Papa. I'll post that one day. People can say, oh, you're blackmailing. I'm not blackmailing. You blackmail the full country. You painted us bad. That's the reason why he doesn't do media, because he's afraid. That's why his brother, we're talking about that. He said, no, bros don't want to do media because if they fear, men will ask a question, we're going to embarrass them. We'll leave it like that. My point is, sometimes these things, you don't know how it affects us as a people. How it damages us. When Okosha said what he said in Kenya about the Nigerian League, he doesn't understand that he's shutting down a $5 billion industry by making that comment. Because you're not in it, and then the people on social media who get maybe 20 MB who are hungry or angry with the country and feel like this is an opportunity to shit on the nation, they will jump on it. But the truth is, by every time you make these things that are not fact-based, you're destroying the nation. And the people that it will affect the most are even those people that are shouting to defend him. It is very, very sad. But categorically, I'm telling you, it is a lie. You know why I'm saying it's a lie with this much confidence? And Mikel Obi can't sit across this table.
Even there's a video trending now online of Samson Siasa coming out to say Mikel didn't pay. People still stand on Mikel's side. That Siasa is not credible enough to believe that they'd rather go with Mikel than go with Siasa as well.
Just be famous and have money. You can rape Nigerians, their mama, and do giveaway. They would stand on the side of their person will rape their mama and leave their mother to tell their mother, say, now you even cause herself. You're supposed just to enjoy the sex. Why you say na rape? That's it. Let's not even go into that one.
Because that's the coach of the team coming out to say.
I am not telling you what I read in the newspaper. I'll tell you, I dropped down dead 2015. Nigeria would not have qualified for 2016 Olympics. Say I wasn't alive. Nigeria wasn't qualified for 20. The people that I pulled make us to qualify. By the time we qualify, people like them. Now, and this is unsung heroes who you just want to do something and stay quiet. But then you hear these small boys come out because they're in front of the microphone. Yeah, I can call Mikel Obi small boy. No matter what he cut 10 years from years as senior. You just come out and begin to talk rubbish. And then you expect us to be quiet. No, come on. Not everything you keep quiet for. This is not clout chasing. This is not. I always tell people, whether I do YouTube or not do YouTube, I go fish up. I go still pay the 3.6 million naira of my children's school fees. I go still pay my bills, everything. So I don't really need to impress anybody. Ooh, all those people fighting themselves in comment section, I really don't. It's not a big deal. But for as long as I know the truth about stories, I will speak for it. If you don't like it, some people want to hear what they've imagined in their head. What they've imagined in their head. Let me give you a very good example. Many years ago, I was still in Brilla and we're talking, and this word was a very common word in the media. If you notice, it's gradually dying. Foreign technical advisor. It didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, with the Super Eagles.
It didn't make sense to me at all. Like, it was so colonial, so racist, so slavish that I was like, oh, so if Oyibo, and you know that when a Nigerian coach like Amodu gets the job, they don't call him Nigeria technical advisor. They don't call him Super Eagles coach. But when he's a foreigner, whether not Las Lagbat or some people tease Libre that cannot even coach under 5 in their country, foreign technical advisor. Now let me give you another thing that happened during the 2010 World Cup, lead up to the 2010 World Cup. A guy, I will never forget it. This is when they say you see them finish. That was the day I see everybody in the editor's guard of the Nigerian sports media. Now that I see them finish. Thomas Olambo was coming to Nigeria. I think it was organized by my big bros.
The same
Thomas, that short guy for South Africa now, as a passport presenter. I not get disrespect for him. I not get beef for him. All our editors, some go wait for him. If you see the way that they run, follow this guy, you go to say Renard Donkey come. Like they want to collect healing. They want to collect the power of Indaboski or something. Like I was shocked. I couldn't bear it. Amokashi was there. Thomas was there. They came to our station. I didn't want Lakija at the time. And I blotted it out unconsciously. I was like, if our chairman goes South Africa, they go run like this. Because our chairman is the owner of a radio station. This guy is just somebody that they employed. He's a staff that they can terminate anytime. He not get any microphone. He not get cable. Everybody they run full and for back. It didn't make sense to me. But that's who we are. Whether we like it or not, this is not me lying. Or this happened. People who think it's a lie, they know the truth. They will watch this video, is the truth. And this is not the first time. It has always happened. It has always happened. So, first off, we need to carry our mind from that place that somebody is rich and famous means they cannot lie. That's why politicians take advantage of us. Because they are rich and famous. Look, see, do a deep dive into Nigeria. All the national heroes of Nigeria are criminals. We name stadium after them. We name airport. We know. They man are thief. This one, I brings structural. I follow IMF, brings structural adjustment to Nigeria. We put us this poverty. What we do? We name public holiday after them. We give them stadium. We name rubbish that we do. That's a country that we are. I'm not even blaming this generation. This thing have been coming since before I was born. Name 5 Nigerian national heroes that are responsible people that did something impactful. All them Tony and Arrow, nobody they even mention them. All our national heroes, they say one president that died in office is the best president Nigeria has ever had. That's the guy. The reason why we don't have lights in this country today, that's go and find out his first executive order. And then come back and tell me that's your hero. But that's the country that we live in. While I don't, blame people sometimes is because this evil doing is in our DNA. So we embrace evil and fight against truth. We fight against good. So everybody is not struggling. Haven't you noticed that there is an obsession in Nigeria to be bad? Because there's something about you being bad. We've even glorified it, say it's a baddie. It's a bad guy. We don't call people good anymore now. If you marry, if you celebrate your marriage, 1 year anniversary, you say on the comment, say, don't worry, we'll wait for the divorce. Because that's who we are, our expectation. Now bad, they give us orgasm. Now bad, they give us a lot. Good, not a good. So nobody's aspiring to be good anymore. Everybody wants to be bad. So Mikel is trying to trend on the back of telling lies. It's the Nigeria that we've created.
Now let's talk about the players now. For the achievements after the whole drama, the whole struggle, getting to Rio for the Olympics, they go on to claim bronze medal. How big of an achievement was that? Because it's not been mentioned enough. They are not, maybe because they didn't clinch the gold medal, it's just bronze.
No, because of weekend, not because
so just,
of the bronze.
Talk about the achievements of the players.
Even since this conversation, if you see how people have been blasting Siasia that is always aggressive on the NFF, says he's looking for an NFF job. Siasia just turned down an NFF job recently. The thing is, like I said before, once you are a good person, Nigerians struggle to make sure your name does not fall into the heroes list. You have to be a bad person. To be worshipped in Nigeria, you have to do bad. Look around you, your peers. Can't you see the desire to do bad, whether it's drug, whether it's Yahoo, whether it's prostitution, whether it's stealing? Can't you see are you not repulsed by the high octane desire to be a bad person? Everybody wants to be bad. Even pastors want to be baddie pastor. You see a pastor preaching in the altar, he tells you, I can kill, I can jail you, I can deal with you. Because a nice pastor, like maybe Sam Adeyemi, for instance, I'm just giving that as an example, will not be respected that much. Maybe passively respected, but the one way they threaten your papa and mama, the one way they behave like who go fit kidnapping, that's the guy, that's the man. It's a Nigerian spirit. It's the Nigerian energy for me. I don't know, but when you look at that achievement, on the manner in which they achieved it, and listen, we've won 3 medals in football in the Olympics.
The first game, they arrived on that day, went on the pitch, won the match.
Gonna carry the table. It was the form of his life. Scored 4 goals. Sadiq Umar scored the first goal in the 16th minute. The rest, as I say, is history. But if you look at that team, the way they got to where they got to, look at the Atlanta 96 team who were. It's not today. So before people even come, they were abandoned. They were sleeping in cockroach-infested hostels. You've not read Sondolise's book.
That's the Atlanta 96.
Yes, Atlanta 96. There was nothing. Everybody was looking for their own, what they would scrape and eat. There was nothing. Players were paying bills for themselves. While in the Olympics, the players were also changing themselves. These players who were stealing from themselves. a boot manufacturer came and say, oh, this player should wear these boots. One player was wearing Adidas already, say no, he's not going to wear Nike, he doesn't want to buy. But they came in through a player. This is the amount of money allocated to everybody who wears it. That player was changing his teammate, but we went on to win the Olympics. It wasn't a big deal. Every time we are successful, people just glide over it. But in America, winning the Olympic gold in football in 1992 became a catalyst that changed the entire NBA and the circle of funding and everything that they have. We have never had that. It's a long talk. We could spend the whole day talking about this. It's a conversation that starts from the top, the presidency. Our sports is dying because the president does not, the government, it's not just the individual president, the government of Nigeria have never seen sports as a business. They've always seen it as a token to, let's just make the people happy. Let's just put smarty and distract them. Let's just play loud music and distract them. It's not an industry. There are people in government speaking for the tech industry. There are people in government speaking for the creative industry. There are people in government speaking for every other industry. It's only when it comes to sports, even when they want to announce ministers. This is the first time we've ever had people who are in sports, who know sports business and the rest, that are running our sports. It's always been accident. We got, once upon a time, it's a long story. We got an NFA chairman based on mistake, typographical error. We got somebody to be NFA chairman without vetting based on typographical error. We think, say, na this person on the call. We put him there. The very person that was submitted, that his name was, we think so, na make mistake. They put somebody else. And it stayed. Even when it not told them that, no, this is not what we want to. It stayed in this country.
Well, a lot has been happening.
You are listening to Elegbete TV Radio.